Hey humans, welcome to Read to Me, Matt Dunn. I'm Matt Dunn, and I'm going to read to you. Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. We are on chapter 23. I know that for a fact. Oh. I was wrestling with the dogs and I have dog hair on my face. You ever get that? You just gotta... Chapter 23. My present situation was one in which all voluntary thought was swallowed up and lost. I was hurried away by fury. Revenge alone endowed me with strength and composure. It modeled my feelings and allowed me to be calculating and calm at periods when otherwise delirium or death would have been my portion. My first resolution was to quit Geneva forever, my country, which, when I was happy and beloved, was dear to me, now in my adversity became hateful. I provided myself with a sum of money, together with a few jewels, which had belonged to my mother and departed. And now my wanderings began, which are to cease but with life. And now my wanderings began, which are to cease but with life. I have traversed a vast portion of the earth, and have endured all the hardships which travelers in deserts and barbarous countries are wont to meet, are want. W-O-N-T. How I have lived I hardly know. Many times I have stretched my failing limbs upon the sandy plain and prayed for death. But revenge kept me alive. I dared not die and leave my adversary in being. When I quitted Geneva, my first labor was to gain some clue by which I might trace the steps of my fiendish enemy. So they spelled clue, C-L-E-W, just to get you an idea of the writing I have to deal with. But my plan was unsettled, and I wandered many hours around the confines of the town, uncertain what path I should pursue. As night approached, I found myself at the entrance of the cemetery where William, Elizabeth, and my father reposed. I entered it and approached the tomb which marks the graves. Everything was silent, except the leaves of the trees, which were gently agitated by the wind. The night was nearly dark, and the scene would have been solemn and affecting even to uninterested observers. The spirits of the departed seemed to flit around, and to cast a shadow, which was felt but not seen, around the head of the mourner. The deep grief which this scene had at first excited quickly gave way to rage and despair. They were dead, and I lived. Their murderer also lived, and to destroy him I must drag out my weary existence. I knelt on the grass and kissed the earth. Get some dirt in your mouth. Kiss that earth. And with quivering lips, explained, by the sacred earth on which I kneel, by the shades that wander near me, by the deep and eternal grief that I feel, I swear, and by thee, O night, and by the spirits that preside over thee, I swear to pursue the demon who caused this misery, until he, or I, shall perish in mortal conflict. A little late for this, duder. For this purpose I will preserve my life, to execute this dear revenge. Will I again behold the sun, and tread the green herbage of the earth, which otherwise should vanish from my eyes forever. Scusi. Forever. And I call on you, spirits of the dead, and on you, wandering ministers of vengeance, to aid and conduct me in my work. Let the cursed and hellish monster drink deep of agony. Let him feel the despair that now torments me. I had begun my adoration with solemnity and an awe which almost assured me that the shades of my murdered friends heard and approved my devotion. But the furies passed me, and I concluded, and rage choked my utterance. I'm so angry, I'm choking, man. I'm so angry, I'm choking. I was answered to the stillness of night by a loud and fiendish laugh. It rung in my ears long and heavy. The mountains re-echoed it, and I felt as if all hell surrounded me with mockery and laughter. Surely in that moment I should have been possessed by frenzy and have destroyed my miserable existence, but that my vow was heard, and that I was reserved for vengeance. The laughter died away, when a well-known and abhorred voice, apparently close to my ear, addressed me in an audible whisper. I am satisfied, miserable wretch. You have determined to live, and I am satisfied. I darted toward the spot from which the sound proceeded, but the devil eluded my grasp. Suddenly the broad disk of the moon arose and shone full upon his ghastly and distorted shape as he fled with more than mortal speed. So it's like the Hulk. The Hulk is Frankenstein. The Hulk is the creature by Frankenstein. I pursued him, and for many months this has been my task. Guided by a slight clue, CLEW, I followed the windings of the Rhone, but vainly the blue Mediterranean appeared, and by a strange chance I saw the fiend enter by night and hide himself in a vessel bound for the Black Sea. I took my passage in the same ship, but he escaped, I know not how. Amid the wilds of Tartary and Russia, although he still evaded me, I have ever followed his track. Sometimes the peasants, scared by this horrid apparition, informed me of his path. Sometimes he himself, who feared that if I lost trace I should despair and die, often left some mark to guide me. The snows descended on my head, and I saw the print of his huge step on the white plain. To you, first entering on life, to whom care is new, and agony unknown, how can you understand what I have felt, and still feel? Cold, want, and fatigue were the least pains which I was destined to endure. I was cursed by some devil, and carried about with me my eternal hell, yet still a spirit of good followed and still a spirit of good followed and directed my steps, and when I most murmured would suddenly extricate me from seemingly insurmountable difficulties. Right? It just happens like that. Sometimes when nature, overcome by hunger, sunk Under the exhaustion, a repast was prepared for me in the desert that restored and inspirited me. The fare was indeed coarse, such the peasants of the country ate, but I may not doubt that it was set there by the spirits that I had invoked to aid me. Often, when all was dry, the heavens cloudless, and I was parched by thirst, a slight cloud would bedim the sky, shed the few drops that revived me, and vanish. He thinks that he's being guided by the spirits. I get it. I followed when I could the courses of the rivers, but the demon generally avoided these, as it was here that the population of the country chiefly collected. In other places human beings were seldom seen, and I generally subsisted on the wild animals that crossed my path. I had money with me, and gained the friendship of the villagers by distributing it, or bringing with me some food that I had killed, which, after taking a small part, I always presented to those who had provided me with fire and utensils for cooking. My life, as it passed thus, was indeed hateful to me, and it was during sleep alone that I could taste joy. O blessed sleep! Often, when most miserable, I sank to repose, and my dreams lulled me even to rapture. The spirits that guarded me had provided these moments, or rather hours, of happiness, and I might retain strength to fulfill my pilgrimage. Deprived of this respite, I should have sunk under my hardships. During the day, I was sustained and inspirited by the hope of night, for in sleep I saw my friends, my wife, and my beloved country. Again I saw the benevolent countenance of my father, heard the silver tones of Elizabeth's voice, and beheld Clerval's enjoying health and youth. Often, when wearing a toilsome march, I persuaded myself that I was dreaming until night should come, and that I should then enjoy reality in the arms of my dearest friends. What agonizing fondness did I feel for them! How did I cling to their dear forms, as sometimes they haunted even my waking hours, and persuade myself that they still lived. At such moments vengeance that burned with me died in my heart, and I pursued my path toward the destruction of the demon, more as a task enjoyed by heaven, as the mechanical impulse of some power of which I was unconscious, than as ardent desire of my soul. Well, he's just sad everyone's dead, and he's just filling up his pages with talk and blah blah blah. What his feelings were whom I pursued, I cannot know. Sometimes indeed he left marks in writing on the bark of the trees, or cut in the stone that guided me or instigated my fury. My reign is not yet over, these words, quote, my reign is not yet over, end quote. These words were legible in one of these inscriptions, quote, you live, and my power is complete. Follow me. I seek the everlasting ices of the north, where you will feel the misery of cold and frost, to which I am impassive. You will find near this place, if you follow not too tardily, a dear hare. Eat and be refreshed. Come on, my enemy. We have yet to wrestle for our lives, but many hard and miserable hours must you endure until that period shall arrive, end quote. Scoffing devil, again I vow vengeance, again do I devote thee, miserable fiend, to torture and death. Never will I omit my search until he or I perish. And then with what ecstasy shall I join my Elizabeth, and those who even now prepare me the reward of my tedious toil and horrible pilgrimage. Well, that was part 1. Well, if you wish for me to keep reading, please check out some more of my videos. Give me a like, thumbs up, You give me that thumbs up like. I like them thumbs ups, ya dog. Subscribe if you want to check out some more of my videos. You get caught up. Hopefully day by day you can get alerts, and you know, every day you get my new videos, and it's going to be great. So write some comments down below, and we'll keeping it real, right? So keeping it real. I'm so great. I'm so great at this. It's like, bye.